She said it without blinking. You won't last even one night with me. Not as a threat, but as a prophecy. Because she wasn't just an alien princess, she was the last heir of a dying starborn dynasty, being engineered for war, storms, and survival in places where humans evaporate in seconds. And yet, when she looked at the lone human soldier standing before her, something in her voice trembled. Why? Because humans weren't supposed to survive her world. And he wasn't supposed to say the two words that changed everything? Show me. If this opening already has you wondering what could possibly happen next, go ahead and hit like. It helps more than you think. And if you enjoy Human vs. Impossible HFY stories, consider subscribing so you never miss the next one. Share it with a friend who loves sci-fi twists. They'll thank you later. All right, ready to see how far this human pushes fate. She stood on the ridge like a blade carved from moonlight, her armor glowing faintly with the pulse of a distant star. Princess Arenya of the Vaeltris Dominion, last daughter of a species bred to outlive wars, winters, and worlds. Every motion she made carried the quiet weight of someone who had never needed to fear anything. Except, oddly, the human. Captain Jae-min Park wasn't tall compared to her people, nor wrapped in shimmering armor. He wore a torn survival jacket, dust from 3 continents still clinging to the fabric. His breathing was steady, eyes sharp, watching her the way a soldier studies a storm. Not with fear, but calculation, curiosity, maybe even challenge. Arenya didn't understand humans. They broke too easily. Their bones weren't reinforced with crystal lattice. Their hearts didn't beat with twin cores. Their minds weren't built to withstand the psychic pressure of her world. And yet here he was, staring her down like her warning meant nothing. You won't last even one night with me, she repeated, voice low, almost pleading. Jae-min lifted one eyebrow. Then show me. For the first time in her life, the princess felt something unfamiliar grab her chest. Not fear, wonder. Arenya didn't walk, she glided, her steps whispering across stone that would have shattered under a human boot. Jae-min followed her down the jagged slope, each step a test of balance. The air was already fighting him. It felt like breathing inside a furnace while someone pressed a stone slab against his chest. Gravity here is 1.8, she said without looking back. Most humans collapse within minutes. Jae-min didn't collapse. He adjusted his posture, slowed his breathing, and kept moving. Arenya heard it behind her, his stubborn heartbeat thudding like a war drum. Irritating and impressive. They reached the valley floor, where blue lightning crawled across the ground like living veins. The soil was alive with microstorms, each discharge strong enough to rupture a human lung. Stay close, she warned. He stepped right beside her, close enough that she felt the warmth radiating off him, something she hadn't felt in years. Her people ran cold, built that way to survive hostile climates. Humans burned hotter, fueled by something she didn't understand. Fire in the blood, they called it. A lightning surge arced toward Jae-min. Reflexively, she moved to shield him, but he caught himself, ducked, and rolled away before it struck. Arenya froze. Humans weren't supposed to react that fast. Night on Vaeltris Prime didn't fall, it crashed. The sky shifted from cobalt to a violent shade of violet, as if someone pulled a cosmic curtain shut. The temperature plummeted instantly. Frost bloomed across the rocks in jagged patterns. Far in the distance, something roared deep, echoing, hungry. Arenya paused at the mouth of a canyon. Once the dark sets in, she said, the planet begins hunting. Jae-min didn't flinch. Then we don't give it an easy target. She turned to him, studying the human as the last rays disappeared. His breath fogged, his pulse stayed steady. Foolish or fearless, she still couldn't decide. The first sign of danger came as a ripple under their feet. Tiny pebbles danced. The ground quivered like something massive was crawling beneath it. Burrowers, she whispered. Before she could warn him further, the soil erupted. A creature part serpent, part armored nightmare lunged upward. Its jaws split in 4 directions, dripping acid steam. Arenya summoned her energy blade, but Jae-min was already moving. He grabbed a shard of broken crystal, dove to the side, and jammed it into the creature's eye, slit with brutal precision. It shrieked, recoiled, and vanished back underground. Arenya stared at him, stunned. Humans weren't supposed to fight like that in Vaeltris Night. They weren't supposed to survive it at all. Arenya led him deeper into the canyon where the winds screamed like wounded beasts. Razor dust storms tore across the cliffs, carving the stone into twisted, violent art. Even she felt the sting against her armored skin. Jae-min? He moved with his arm raised, jacket whipping behind him, face set in that maddening human determination. Every gust pushed him back, yet every time he pushed harder. "You should be unconscious," she muttered. "Your muscles are tearing themselves apart to compensate." "Good thing I brought extras," he said through clenched teeth. She almost laughed, almost. But then the temperature plunged again. A shadow crawled across the canyon walls. Above them, winged predators circled thin silhouettes with bone-thin wings and chorus-screeching voices. "Harrowhawks," she warned. "Even my people avoid them," one dove. Arenya raised her blade and Jae-min stepped forward, grabbed a loose rope from his gear, and snapped it upward. The weighted end struck the creature's wing joint, sending it spinning into the canyon wall. It screeched, furious and disoriented. "How?" she began. He cut her off with a shrug. "We improvise." Something inside her chest tightened. This human wasn't adapted for her world, wasn't trained for its dangers. Yet he fought like he belonged here. As if breaking wasn't even an option? The storm finally eased as the first pale hints of dawn crept across Vaeltris Prime. Light returned slowly here, reluctant and cold, brushing the canyon walls in icy gold. Arenya expected to see Jae-min collapsed, broken, barely clinging to life. Instead, she saw him standing at the ridge beside her, breathing hard but steady, watching the horizon like he'd conquered it. A full night, a human. On a world designed to kill anything weaker than a god? She stepped closer, her voice quieter than she intended. "No human has ever survived Vaeltris Night." "Not one?" Jae-min gave a lopsided smile. "Guess somebody had to be first." Something inside her shifted, something ancient, something her people had buried under layers of tradition and fear. The Vaeltrin believed endurance was written in bloodlines, coded in the stars themselves. But this human proved something different. Strength wasn't always inherited. Sometimes it was chosen. The ground shimmered as dawn finally broke open. Overhead, the Harrowhawks retreated, the storms calmed. The planet itself seemed to acknowledge the impossible. Arenya looked at him not as a fragile outsider, but as an equal. "Captain Park," she said softly, "you didn't survive the night." He turned to her, confused. He held his gaze. "You conquered it, and from that moment on the legends began.